Yeah, basically missed everything.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out like solving with like equations and because I'm in algebra
Yes.
1. And
All
so
right.
like um equations with like different multiple variables in them with different ones, right?
So
I
you're
don't
still
have any
what?
actual homework with it because apparently I already did it, but I still don't really fully understand how to do it. So
Yeah. Let's look at these, and then I've got some other ones from other students that are doing the same thing you're doing right now. So I'll grab some of those here. Like I
okay.
mentioned, I do jump off camera here to start the lesson. And so what I'll do is I'll snip in some problems here for us to work on. Is it okay if we start with 20?
Sure.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here is snip that in. If I can get my snipping tool, there it is. And on my screen, hopefully you're seeing my screen. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's like three things that you're going to do to solve multi-step equations. And in this one, we're going to first have to distribute. Do
All
you know
right,
what I mean by distribute?
I do.
Okay, so we're going to distribute this -4 into both of these. Becomes minus 12x plus 8x. You have to distribute to both.
Yep.
Now on the right here, I recommend treating it like it's -2 that you're distributing in. So it becomes 6x minus 8 minus 6x. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Clear? Cool. The
I didn't know
second
if I
thing,
was supposed to like add in the negative in there.
it's always better to treat it like it's -2 or
Right.
the negative and distribute it.
Okay.
Second thing here is you're going to combine like terms. Okay. So
Right.
for example, on the left here, what does that become? Minus 12x plus 8x
Minus 4x.
minus 4x plus 8. On the right, do you see any like terms?
6x and minus 6x.
Yes. And what does that become?
0.
0. And generally you don't write 0, but you can.
Okay.
So there's a third thing, and there's kind of a 0th thing that we'll get to in a future problem here. But this multi-step equation, so what you're looking at is called a multi-step equation. You now are going to solve it. These always become either a 2-step or a 1-step equation.
All right.
You're down to a 2-step equation. So for solving a 2-step equation, which is what we have here, you solve it by first undoing addition and subtraction, then multiplication and division. So you look at the side with the variable here, -4 times x plus 8. You remember how to undo this right here, this plus 8.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you do that?
Minus 8.
Subtract 8 from both sides, good. And I'm only asking because I'm trying to gauge where you're at. The more we work together, the more I'll know what things I don't have
Yeah.
to ask. So on, how do you undo this -4 in front of the x?
Divide.
Divide by -4. You always divide by everything. X equals what in this case?
Uh, positive 4.
+4. Good. Now, what you could do is you could check your answer. Did you guys talk about that in class?
Not really, no.
Okay, so to check your answer, and we don't have to do this, this is just an aside here. You put that number back in on the left and the right, and it should work. It should be the same.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So what I'd like to do, if you're okay with it, is I've got from another student,
Mm-hmm.
um, kind of a multi-step equation like this. Hang on just a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, so I've got another question here, and what I'd like to do is just have you try solving this on your own. And if you have any questions, please ask. It's really similar to the one we just did. Maybe not as difficult, but give that a try, please, and let me know what you come up with.
All right. Um. Yeah. And after we get the multi-step equations, can we do the equations with more than one variable? Or like
Possibly,
different
because
variables?
I might need to know what you're referring to. Maybe you're talking about literal equations.
I don't know.
Okay, you might have to provide an example for me because I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. Um,
Like stuff that's like uh 2x plus like 4y equals like 17. Stuff like
okay,
that.
that's fine. This though, you need something else like to go along with it. This is an equation of a line. It has a lot of possibilities.
Okay.
I just need a tiny bit more information. I mean, I can go off
I
and
just
build a
kind of
lesson.
gave that up because like as an example, but like stuff with like different variables because I don't really understand that.
Okay, we'll get to that here. Why don't you try solving this one? It just helps me to gauge where you're at, see if you got it or don't got it, and we'll move to some harder stuff on the
All right.
solving.
Do I like say it like out
Nope,
loud what I'm
I want
doing
you to
or do
work
I
it out.
just give you the answer?
Yeah, just work it out completely on your own. If you have questions, ask. I've already got the answer off to the side here on what I'm doing on another screen. So I'm just basically just to check because I can't see you work through it. I want to see if you can do a problem.
Okay.
So yeah, so give it a try and let me know what you come up with.
Is it x equals -1?
It is not. So let's take a look here. I'm gonna just work through this and see maybe it's just a small thing. Um, does your first line after you distribute in look anything like this?
Oh, I forgot to distribute the first one.
Okay, so you only gave it to like the X.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you rework it from here and see if you can come up with the correct answer.
All right. Sorry.
No, no big deal. That's why I'm just checking in here because I don't want us to go through harder problems until you've got these down for sure.
Okay. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a whole number, but I got 62 over 7.
Yes, so it should be, so let's take a look at this together. So when you combine like terms on the left here, it should be minus 52 plus 8x equals, on the right, minus 4 and minus 6 becomes minus 10 plus 15, 15x. Okay, so from here, and I didn't put this on the list yet, but the third thing that you do in terms of solving is you move from the smaller to the larger, which may be a little odd here, but we're looking at 8x and 15x, which is smaller, and smaller means it's more to the left on the number line.
8x.
Right. So we're going to subtract 8x from both sides. Minus 52 equals minus 10 plus 7x. And then I'm guessing this is where the mistake came. You add 10 to both sides because it's negative, or it's being subtracted. So it's minus 42 equals 7x. And then you divide both sides by 7 to get x equals minus 6, like that.
Okay.
Okay, let me maybe try one more, because I know you can do this. Let me put this problem up in front of you. You're going to distribute the 4 into both. You're going to distribute the minus 7 into both. You're going to combine like terms. You're going to move stuff around. Go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to check back in a minute or two and see how you're doing on this, and then we'll work on some new stuff. But I'll be right back with you.
All right.
Right. I'm not trying to rush you here. I do have the answer whenever you're ready give me what you got, and
I'm almost done.
take your time though.
I got -3.
You are correct. Very good. Okay. All right. So let's go back to your paper, and I'm going to look at, we're going to look at the next one here. We're actually going to look at well, I guess we'll look at 21 next. The decimals,
Sure.
decimals are fine. Sometimes I go out of order on these just to sort of, because there's a way to do it where you're able to learn more certain order. So first thing you probably notice here is there's these decimals, okay? And I don't particularly like the decimals. Are you generally allowed to use a calculator in your course
I
or
am.
not? You are, okay. So that may change how we do this. I would tell you, and that was kind of that zeroth thing to do, is to eliminate decimals and fractions. Okay. To do that, though, what some students prefer to do is actually prefer to multiply in first.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you don't have a calculator, that could be problematic. But let's do that here. So this becomes 2.4x minus 1.6 equals x plus 0.2x minus 1.
Okay.
Now, to eliminate the decimal, you multiply by 10 if you just have tenths. You multiply by 100 if you have hundredths. So when you look at this problem, do you have tenths or do you have hundredths or something else?
Tenths.
Tenths. So you multiply everything by 10. So you multiply everything by 10. 24x minus 16 equals 10x plus 2x minus 10. So the most common mistake here is to not multiply everything by 10. To miss something, to skip something. Okay, and you'll notice that when your answer is a odd number typically.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so why don't you solve it from here? This
Okay.
is just like the previous problems. We already know the answer because it's on the bottom of your page there. So if you don't get 1/2, then we know there's an issue. But go ahead and work this out. Should get 1/2.
This is question 21, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I got, is 0.5 the same thing as 1/2? I don't know.
It is, it is.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just, and all I'm doing, I was just asking you to solve it from here, just to see if, you're comfortable with the steps. What we've been doing.
Okay.
Up to you though, if you wanna do that or not.
Okay. Um,
If not, we'll move on to 22.
and yeah, I'll
Okay,
try it.
you'll try this one, or you want us to move on to 22?
I'll try this one.
Okay.
I got 1/2 again.
Very good. Okay, let's look at 22 together and then we'll work on something new here. But 22 is really a lot like the previous problem. There's no distributing to do, but there are decimals. So again, when there's decimals, you really want to eliminate them. Like maybe in the classroom, they're like that you don't eliminate them. I would tell you to always eliminate them. It's the best strategy. So it's
Okay.
42x plus 7 equals 18 minus 24x. Um, always make sure, and all you're doing is you're just moving that decimal over each time. That's all you're doing here. That nothing fancy. And then you move from the smaller side to the larger side, which may be moving it left, maybe moving it right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to subtract 7 from both sides.
Okay.
66x equals 11. Divide by 66, and you get x equals 11 over 66. Now, what kind of a calculator are you using? A TI 8384? Are you using something else, a
Uh,
scientific?
just my phone calculator.
Oh, okay. All right. I would recommend, if your teacher will allow it, to use the Desmos app on your phone.
Okay.
The phone
Maybe he gives
calculator.
us calculators because we're not allowed to use our phones for the test.
Okay.
But yeah.
So for our lessons, it would be good for you to have whatever calculator you're allowed to use on the test, because I can tell you how to use it to simplify something like this. Your phone will give you like 0.161616, and that's not the right answer here. You have to
Okay.
recognize that it's 1/6. And depending on the calculator you have, I can help you kind of work through and figure that out.
I don't know what calculator.
Okay, so that would be a good question to ask your teacher. And you can just say, hey, working on some homework over the weekend and want to make sure I know what we can use in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Not a big deal.
Okay.
All right, any questions on decimals before we move to fractions?
Not really, no.
Okay, so fractions are are awful. We're actually gonna look at 24 first, and then we'll go back to 23.
Okay.
All right, so first thing here, probably good to distribute. Do you remember how to multiply a fraction by a whole number?
No.
So the whole number is over 1, and then you multiply the tops, and then you multiply the bottoms.
All right.
So it becomes 4 over 3x minus 2 over 3 equals 10. The fraction on 10 is really 10 over 1
All right.
there. Okay. Now what you do is you look at all the bottoms, 3, 3, and 1. And what you want is what's called the least common multiple of 3 and 1. The 1 doesn't really count. It's not useful. So in this case, it's just this number. It's 3. And the least common multiple is what you multiply everything by. So you multiply everything in the equation by 3.
All right.
And you see the pattern here, it's everything by 3. Now as a student, what you typically want to do is multiply first. You actually would rather divide. Do you see how the 3 cancels out with the 3 on the bottom?
Uh,
Or not?
kind of.
Kind of. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, most students want to multiply the top. So that becomes 12 over 3x minus 6 over 3 equals 30 over 1. And the problem here is that you still have the fractions. So at some point you have to reduce. You have to say, okay, what is 12 divided by 3? It's 4. Well, where did that 4 come from? Oh, it was the numerator. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 30 divided by 1 is 30.
Okay.
So from here, could you solve this for us, please?
Mm-hmm. It'd be x equals 8.
Try again.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You are correct. Whoa. I'm having a malfunction. Yes, that is correct. Very good. Very, very good. All right. Any questions, thoughts on that before we proceed?
Mm-mm.
All right. So we go back to 23, and you might wonder, well, why did you do 24 first? 23 has more fractions in it, a lot more
Yeah.
fractions. And it has on the bottom there, it has a 4 on the bottom, a 3 on the bottom, a 6 on the bottom, and an 8 on the bottom. And what you need is what's called the least common multiple. Okay. And the least common multiple, what that is it's a number that all of these divide into. And so you could guess. You could say like it's um some number, right? But that's not really the best way to do it. The best way to do it is you actually take two of the numbers like 4 times 3, which is 12, 4 times 6, which is 24, 4 times 8, which is 32, 3 times 6, which is 18, 3 times 8, which is 24. And you go through these and you look at them and you say, okay, and then I'm sorry, the last one is 6 times 8, which is 48. You go through them and you say, okay, you start with 12, the smallest number, and you ask yourself, do all of these numbers go into 12 evenly?
Mm-mm.
Like, does 4 go into 12 evenly?
Yeah.
Yes. 3, yes. 6, yes. But 8, no. So we know that that's not it. Then we go to the next biggest number, 18. Does 4 go into 18?
No.
Nope.
Yes.
So that, nope. It goes in, it does not go in evenly. So then you go to the next biggest number, 24. Does 4 go into 24?
Yeah.
How about 3?
I don't know.
Okay. So what I'm asking is 24 divided by 3, 24 divided by 4, 24 divided by 6,
Yeah.
24 divided by 8. And like, do they all work? They have to all work.
Yeah.
So that's your answer. That's kind of a shortcut. That's not the correct way to do it, but it is a shortcut, does work. a lot of the time. So you're multiplying everything by 24. Everything.
Oh. Okay.
Now again, it's better if you divide first, but if you do multiply, which is fine because you have a calculator, you're going to get larger numbers. So it's totally up to you. What I want you to do is multiply in and then divide. And I want you to give me the next line here, please.
Okay. Um, so I'm multiplying 24 by 5 and
5,
4.
and then dividing by 4. Yes.
Okay.
And then you'll multiply it by 2 and divide by 3. And I want, write it down or just give me the full line when you've got it.
Okay. Okay. Should be 120 over 96.
No, oh no, no, no. So you're multiplying 24 by 5 and then dividing by 4.
Oh, and then I divide?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Because
okay.
it's really 24 over 1. And so you multiply the top and then you multiply the bottoms, but that's why you're dividing, because 24 times 5 is like 120, divide by 4, you get some number.
30.
30. So I'm looking for the whole thing. So go ahead and I know this is more complicated than the other one, but just take another minute or two or see if you can work out, each of these steps
So
here,
I only times it by the top number?
and then divide by the bottom number.
Okay. So okay. I got it.
Okay, give me your give me the go ahead and read it to me, please.
Oh, I just lost everything. Sorry.
Take your
Um,
time. And I'm putting you on the spot here this is part of your learning though, to be able to do this.
yeah. So for the first one, I got 30.
30x
Yeah. And
minus,
then the next one, I got 16
good, equals
equals 4.
x, 4x,
And
plus,
then the last one, I got 9.
good. So the fractions are completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
Completely gone. Now, oddly, um,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just looking at your answer key and making sure. This does not work out nicely, but go ahead and solve it from here. It is a fraction that's not very nice. Um, and then we'll look at another
Okay.
problem or two.
Um, do I leave it in fraction form or do I put it in decimal form?
Fraction.
Okay, I got 25 over 26.
Good. Very good.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's look at a new problem here. This is 25 on your sheet. And a couple things here. This one has kind of a little wrinkle to it, a little thing that's a little different than the others. Notice that the 3 and the 3 here on the right, they match up. And as a reminder here, if you add fractions, to add fractions, you just need the bottoms to be the same. So it's 2/3 on the right plus 1/3. If the bottoms are the same, you keep the bottoms and you add the top. And
Right.
3 divided by 3 is 1. So sometimes you can get away with just moving something, which I think was the point of this question here. So this is 3/4 times 3x minus 1/2 equals 1. And we're gonna work on solving it from here. But just make sure you see that. Like sometimes you can shortcut the problem by adding to both sides there the fraction, if they combine nicely.
Wait, you want me to solve it?
No, we're gonna work. I'm just kind of making that point one more time, just to see if just to kind of make sure that's clear. To solve this new problem, we're going to distribute the 3/4 in.
Alright.
Okay, and so off to the side here, I want you to see what we're doing. It's 3/4 times 3, which is really 3/1, and then it's
Mhm.
3/4 times 1/2. Okay, so when
Okay.
you're multiplying fractions, you multiply the top, multiply the bottom. So it becomes 9/4x minus 3/8 equals 1.
Alright.
Okay, so now we're looking for the least common multiple between 4 and 8. And that whole like multiplying them does work, but it's unnecessary in this problem because sometimes it's just one of the numbers.
Yeah.
In this case, it's 8. 4 goes into 8. 8 always goes into itself.
Wait, what?
4, 8 is divisible by 4, and 8 is divisible by 8.
Yep.
So we know that that is what you multiply everything by.
Alright.
So what I'd like you to do now, like this is where I want you to jump in. I want you to multiply in and let me know the next line here in this.
Okay. So like I times the top number by 8 and then like divide it by 4. Like the first
Yes.
one, right?
Yes.
So okay, because I got 18 for that one.
18x. Yep. And keep going. Go ahead and do all of them.
And then I got 3 for the next one. And then like the last one's just 8 times 1, so 8.
Okay, so pretend like you're in control here, and I need you to tell me what to write in this next line. Like, I'm only going to write
Okay.
what you tell me.
Uh, give me a minute. So the first line is 18. Three and
So
8.
okay, so this is what you said. Okay, and what you're missing, and that's why I had you do this, because I want you to see you didn't tell me anything about this x, you didn't tell me about
Oh,
this
yeah.
operator. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the whole line here. And I know this isn't really a math skill, but this is just, I want you to tell me what to write next. All of those are correct when they've got the right thing with them.
All right. 18x minus 3 equals 8.
Perfect. Yes. Very, very good. Okay. And that's what I was looking for. That's where it's, math is not an oral game. It's you write stuff down, but for us to communicate, we've got to do it a little bit differently. And you're doing a great job here. So there is your final answer.
Okay.
Okay. I think we need just a little bit more practice on the fractions, but you did mention, so I might as well do a little bit of this with this. Now, did you look at equations like this of a line?
Yeah.
Okay. Any idea what the name of this is?
The name of what? Like
This
the
line has a
equation?
specific name. Yeah. It's like you play tennis. I remember you're probably a tennis player, is that right? Or
Mm-hmm.
you have played tennis? Yeah, there's the baseline, there's the, center line, right? There's different names for the line. This is called in math, it's called the slope intercept form of a line.
Oh, okay. Do I have to
Okay,
know that?
you do, yes, at some
Oh,
point. I don't,
okay.
I mean, I don't know exactly where you're at, but that's generally where you move in algebra 1 is you move to, you start by solving equations and then you go to this here. All right, let me I'll be right back with you.
Alright. Wait. Never mind. I don't know.
All right, I am back. Sometimes I just have to mute myself because of what's going on. If you ever need, I should have mentioned that earlier. If you ever need to get up from the lesson or somehow, just let me know and we'll pick back up. So yeah, you need to know this. The one that you were asking me about, like 2x plus 4y equals 8. This is called the standard form of a line.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one in between here, y minus 2 equals 3, x minus 1. And that's the point slope form of a line. There's actually 3 forms of a line that you have to know. Do you remember, I mean, how much have you been working on these in class?
Not a lot. It's the second week of school, so
Okay.
not that.
I don't want to jump into too like sophisticated of a question, but there's a
Well, I
lot
don't want to
here.
like put too much stuff in my head because I have a test tomorrow. So if I
Yes.
don't need to know it,
You
I
do not
don't
need to know
want to
this.
know it, or else I'll probably get confused.
Yeah, you don't need to know this. Let's look at that last problem there on your sheet. We'll work through that.
Okay.
All right. So this problem has fractions again, but it also has these parentheses. So you really want to distribute this minus 5 over 2 into each of these. Now, in the case of x, it's really 1x.
All
Does
right.
that look familiar to you? There's really a 1 there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're taking minus 5 over 2 times 1 over 1 when you multiply in, because you can only put the 1 over 1. And that becomes itself minus 5 over 2.
All
So
right.
we're distributing it, so it's minus 5 over 2x. Then it's minus 5 over 2 times 4 over 1, which becomes minus 20 divided by 2.
Okay.
Now these all have the same bottom. 2, 2, 2, 2. So guess what you multiply everything by?
2.
2. So I'd like you to do that. Go ahead and multiply everything by 2 and tell me what the next line is, please.
All right. Okay, the first line's 1x equals so I'm kind of like doing it as I go. 3x
I just, okay,
minus 7.5
nope,
x.
nope.
Okay. Oh,
Just do it one
my
at a
bad.
time. Just do it one at a time. Like, there's no rush here.
5x
Okay,
minus 20.
good, good. Okay, now combine like terms.
All right. 8x.
Try again. 3x minus 5x. You
Oh, that's
have,
minus, right? So
yeah,
it'd be minus 2x.
okay. And then you move from the smaller to the larger.
The
Minus
smaller.
2x is smaller than 1x, so you're gonna add 2x to both sides.
Mm-hmm.
What does that become?
3x.
Okay, what's the,
And you divide both by 3.
perfect, yep, there's your final answer.
Okay.
All right, excellent,
Mhm.
okay. Um, the lessons are 50 minutes. Let me see if I can find one more problem for you to try here. That could help here. I don't want to get too crazy with fractions. But yeah, here's one for you to try. All right, go ahead and try this and let me know if you have any questions. I'll work it out here in a minute or two.
Okay. Okay. Is it 5?
It is 5. Very good. Excellent. All right, we're gonna go ahead and stop there for today. Let me go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.